Students at the Nelson Mandela University in Port Elizabeth are protesting against the registration process and placement of students in residences. The protest is affecting the running of the university. For more on this story, we cross to our reporter Anda Nqonji, who's in Port Elizabeth for us. Anda, what's happening where you are?
A very good afternoon to you. Well, a group of students, as you can see behind me, continue to gather in protest, very disgruntled and frustrated, saying that the protest is rather the only language the management seems to understand. This despite the sheriff bringing a court interdict preventing them to continue with the protest. They say that if that's the case, then it means all their protests will be illegal, and that means they can no longer communicate with the management. We have seen earlier on a number of frustrated students coming here and having to turn back home, saying that they are very worried because they will miss out on a great deal of term work if this continues this way. But the students have handed a memorandum to the management telling them that they must meet the demands within 2 days and come back to them and tell them what they have resolved. And part of their demands is a place to stay, saying that accommodation is rather scarce and NSFAS should allow them to stay in private accommodation, and also saying that NSFAS should be able to register all students, or rather the university allow the students to register and later on pay the debt. But if I may grab the SRC president standing right next to me, who will be telling us more. First of all, can you just tell us about the interdict that you have received and why we are still seeing the students gathered here and still protesting regardless?
Thank you very much. My name is Thembaletu Nyegilana. I'm the SRC president of Nelson Mandela University, as well as the regional secretary of SASCO. Indeed, the memorandum of demands has been presented to the management of the university, and also furthermore, the standing interdict has been read out to students. But I think the matter of us being here and still picketing at this time, it's a matter of pledging solidarity to the genuine struggles that are there. I think there's no one worth their salt who would disregard how genuine the struggles of students are. It is true, we have students who are still yet to be registered. We have a challenge of postgraduate students who are yet to be registered on the basis that they are not funded by NSFAS, number one, and secondly, the university refusing them registration on the basis that they have outstanding debt. In the past, there have been measures that we've introduced as a university to ensure that those who have fallen off NSFAS form part of our own university concessions. And therefore, part of those issues are that of ensuring that we have a concessions program that is running with the university. And that concession program is that for those students who don't fall part of NSFAS. And we're saying to the university they must restructure the criteria that they use as far as concessions is concerned to ensure that we're able to accommodate those students who have fallen off the brink of NSFAS. Number two, we have students who've already been accepted by those concessions and they have been able to register. But those concessions are silent as far as their accommodation is concerned. And we're saying that you can't register students and then not be able to provide shelter for them. And we're saying that without being arrogant, without being clear, we're saying that let's sit down with the university, let us comprise a comprehensive strategy on how to accommodate those students. So we've been engaging them for the past few weeks. SAUS made a national call for all universities to shut down based on demands that we tabled to the minister. The minister has responded to some of those demands, and we're saying that this university is not immune to those genuine demands that have been made by SAUS, and therefore they must begin to implement some of the decisions taken by the minister. Those decisions include the releasing of academic records for students who have completed and who have debt, and number three, the releasing of certificates of graduation to those students for the basis of pursuing employment. Because the reason why we're dealing with student debt, we have students who are unemployed and who are graduates but cannot find employment because of their academic records and certificates being withheld by universities. We're also saying that all students who are academically deserving, whether they have a debt of 2007 or a debt of 2019, those students must be able to go and register, and they must be able to continue with their studies. Because postgraduate studies is no longer a luxury. Postgraduate studies are what students need in order to pursue employment.
And we have heard, actually you have mentioned that there has been attempts to engage the management, and this was the final resort. Can you maybe tell us what attempts have been made to try and engage the management before you decided to resort to a protest?
Look, engagements with management has been an ongoing process throughout. Comrades has been at university since the 6th of January with the Right to Land campaign that they've been embarking on together with the SRC. So engagements have been as early as the 6th of January. with forecasting some of the challenges that you might have for the 2020 registration period and challenges that you might have post-registration period of the 2020 academic period. And therefore, engagements have started since the 6th of January. But what has been a problem is the collapse of implementation within those engagements. Sitting in boardrooms, agreeing on decisions, but when it comes to the implementation of those decisions, it falls within the cracks.
Thank you so much. That was the SRC president telling us more about their memorandum and some of the demands that they have given to the management today. The security, I must mention that it has since been beefed up since the sheriff came in and gave the interdict saying that they can no longer protest, even though the protest has been peaceful up to this point. But we do see a fair amount of police officers roaming around just to contain any violence that might occur. But right now, from me, Anda Nqonji, and camera person SABC, it's back to you in studio.
Thank you for that report, Anda.